Welcome everyone to part 3 of our lesson 1 called the Internet. In this section of the lesson we are going to be talking about the different types of networks that we might find. Now we're going to be talking about 4 different types. There are more than this, but these 4 generally describe to each and every single one of us the major points at which you are connected to a network. So the first we're going to be talking about is the PAN network. This is a personal area network, and the definition for it is the user connects to personal devices which are very close in range. So if we were to draw a little diagram or a little representation of this, if this is the user here, we're going to just draw a very okay looking stick man, and they have a phone on their person. Then what might happen is they might turn Bluetooth on their phone, so they might turn Bluetooth on, and this might connect to some sort of wireless headphones which the user has. Now this is a personal area network because another user standing over here, for example, cannot connect to these headphones with their phone unless they are given special permission by the main user with some sort of code that they can use to connect to the device. So this is a personal area network. This is something that only you have access to and nobody else, or I should say no other device outside of what you give permission to. This could also include other types of speakers that are not headphones, or it might be a personal printer, for example. So you might have a printer over here which allows you to connect to it and to print something like this. And that means that nobody else, so this person over here, person number 2, is not allowed to connect to this printer, only you or your device. This is a personal area network. It is for devices which are very close in range and that only you have access to. The next network up from this one is the LAN network, which, as you can see, stands for local area network. And the definition for this is the user or this type of network allows a connection to a network which is made up of other devices in the same geographical location, in the same place. And this could be a house or a school or even a company like a bank, for example. If you walk into a bank, all of the computers at the bank are connected to one another through a network, through a LAN network. Even if the internet goes down, even if the internet service provider cuts off all of the service to the bank, the computers at the bank will still be able to communicate with one another because they are on a LAN, a local area network. And this is the same for schools, for example. You might find as a student you are able to log into any computer at your school and your files are readily available to you because your computer is connected through a local area network to all of the other devices, all of the nodes at the school. So this is a local area network. And for example, if we just draw a very basic school here, we might have 2 computer classrooms. So we'll have, for example, a row of computers over here like this, and a row of computers in the other room like so, and we have the server room over here. So let's say this is the server room and these are the computers. What you might find is, if you look very closely, is all of these computers have wires which are connected to this main wire, through this main backbone, which then connects to the server. And you'll find this with the other computers over here as well. And the wires are very neatly organized through the walls, which is something I'm not representing very clearly here with my drawings. So all of these computers are connected to this server, and the server is connected to them. So a student, so student A over here, might decide that they want to change computer, because this one over here, so computer 1, might not have the required program for the user. So user A, student A will go to computer number 3 and still find their files there, because the files of the student are saved here on the server. So whichever computer they log into, that computer will contact the server, and the files will be sent to the computer that the student is logged into. This is a local area network, and it doesn't require, for example, for you to have an internet service provider at this point, because all of the information, all of the data is traveling locally. That's why it's called a local area network. It's sort of the devices are in the same geographical location, which then brings us to the next type of network. So this is called a MAN, a Metropolitan Area Network, and this is for users that are connected to a network which is made up of other devices in a larger geographical location. So London, for example, might be considered a MAN, a Metropolitan Area Network. Paris might be the same thing, or if not the entire city of London, it could be individual boroughs that are connected to a metropolitan area network. I don't know exactly how London is set up, whether it is London or the boroughs individually that are considered as a metropolitan area network, but at the very least we have the definition that we live in a city which also gives us a metropolitan area network connection. Okay, the next one in line, so this is really the last one in the line, the WAN, wider area network. This includes the entire world. This is a global network, and the definition for it would be the user connects to a network which is made up of other devices not in the same geographical location, i.e. the world. So if we look at the world as a whole, as a very, very bad circle, so we might have, for example, the UK over here with Ireland as well. We might have, for example, Spain and France, Portugal, and all of these countries over here, which I am not drawing very well. And there we go, Italy has a little football there, and we'll have the northern countries over here, and we'll have Japan on the far side over here, and we'll have Antarctica at the bottom, and Australia over here as well. So WAN, the wider area network, allows all of these different locations, all of these different geographical locations to connect with one another through the cables underneath the oceans, or in more modern with more modern technologies, you might even look at the technology which SpaceX has released, which is called Starlink. They have placed satellites around the world, and these satellites constantly communicate with one another, and they also bring down the signal for the internet, so the entire world can be connected to the internet through Starlink, which uses satellites in space, or they could use other forms of the internet, which is the cables running underneath the oceans to connect to other countries.